Hey guys, it's me, Taj Okonkwo. So if you've seen some of my past videos, you'll know that I'm a coder. And as a coder, I've created and abandoned many video games. My love for coding goes back to 2015 when I was 9 years old. That was the time I first learned about the website Scratch from my dad. Ever since, I have become a better coder and moved on from Scratch to make large video games. As of now, most of my games I worked on were made using Unity. In this video, I'd like to go over 3 video games that I have either completed or I'm currently working on. I put these in an order of when I started making them. The 3 games that I'd like to talk about are Drinkable Money, Midori Glass, and Fly Circle. I put these in an order of when I started making them. Anyways, let's begin. The first game I'd like to talk about today is Drinkable Money. The origins for this game go back to an old Scratch project I made in 2018. You see, in Scratch, whenever you create a game, it's called a project. Every few days, the Scratch website chooses one project to be on the featured list. The projects that enter the featured list are shown on the homepage of the website. The projects Scratch chooses must fit a certain criteria. Anyways, I tried to come up with a game that had the potential to be featured on the Scratch homepage. I eventually thought of making a game about a lemonade stand, so I put together the code and made the graphics, and eventually the game was done. Unfortunately, there are no videos that I could find with original gameplay. This is because as time went by, I decided to tweak the game to make it more appealing. If you want to play the Scratch project, I'll have a link to it in the description. I soon realized that my project didn't get featured because not enough people played it. This made me wonder, what if I made a Unity version of this game? And thus, the full version of Drinkable Money was started on August 24th, 2019. This game took almost a year to complete. However, because of quarantine, I got more time to complete it at home. And after many deadlines and revisions, the final version of Drinkable Money was completed in May of 2020. And it was a disaster, it was really bad. I attempted to get the game copyrighted in June, and as of now, only a few images and music files went through. I do not plan on releasing Drinkable Money anytime soon, but my experience of making Drinkable Money taught me a lot about the game making process. If you want to see some footage of the full version of Drinkable Money, I have a channel that you could subscribe to where I post gameplay. Now let's talk about Midori Glass. Midori Glass is a game about a leprechaun having his hometown of Ireland be destroyed by bad luck. The game was initially going to be released on St. Patrick's Day of 2021. The origin for this game goes back to June of 2019. I was on my way to Old Town San Diego for Father's Day, and I was in the backseat of the car watching YouTube videos. I eventually found a music video for the song Hey Ya by Outkast. In the music video, there was a man wearing all green. I then wondered, maybe I should make a game about the color green. And since I knew some Japanese at the time, I decided that I would call the game Midori after the Japanese word for green, Midori. However, I decided, since I'm making this game about the color green, and since I'm part Irish, I might as well make the protagonist a leprechaun. And the protagonist of Midori became a leprechaun named Midori. But then I realized, maybe I should look up the word for green in Irish and then put it next to Midori. So I did. And the word for green in Irish was glass. So I decided to change the Y in Midori back to an I, and then put the 2 words together to make Midori Glass. I then decided to change the first I in the word to an I with an umlaut because it made it look like a clover. And that was how the name of the game changed from Midori to Midori Glass to Midori Glass. Another notable thing to point out is that at the time, there was a YouTuber I watched called Eezy who made music that I really liked. So I decided to contact them to see if they can make a song for my game. I wanted it to be a cover of the Irish national anthem, Amhrán na bhFiann, with Japanese instruments. I don't know if I pronounced that name right. And they got back to me with the music. It was an amazing song, and I'll make sure to put it in my game when I get the chance. If you want to check out Eezy7's channel, I'll put a link in the description where you can do that. Anyways, I worked on Midori Glass for a long time until I got bored and started to work on Drinkable Money instead. However, one day I decided to give Midori Glass another shot, and I made a new version earlier this year. One of the things I decided to do for the game was to focus on gameplay and coding before the graphics. This is the approach I'm using for most of my games from then on. However, I once again got bored with the game and now it's on a hiatus. I'm still planning to work on Midori Glass because I believe it has a lot of potential. The final game I'd like to talk about today is Fly Circle. Fly Circle is about a bird trying to find a new home. Pretty simple concept if you ask me. Like Drinkable Money, Fly Circle was based on a Scratch project. The beta version of Fly Circle was relatively easy to program. I even decided to turn it into an exe file to be played outside of Scratch. Also, like Drinkable Money, my beta version of Fly Circle was designed to fit the criteria of a Scratch project being on the featured list. However, the beta version of Fly Circle was not shared on Scratch, so I'll not have a link to it. Sorry. But one day I decided to make a new version of Fly Circle on July 1st, 2020. Unfortunately, this version of the game was soon scrapped after I realized I was paying too much attention into the graphics and not the actual gameplay. But I tried again. And on November 17th, 2020, I decided to take a new approach to Fly Circle. So two of my favorite games, Rolling Sky and Dancing Line, both decided that they would stop releasing updates earlier this year. And because both Rolling Sky and Dancing Line were both music-based, this is why I decided to make Fly Circle music-based too. I'm still working on Fly Circle, and like Midori Glass, I decided to focus on gameplay before the graphics, and I think this will help me finish Fly Circle much quicker. Anyways, that's all I have to share for you today. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so that you won't miss out on my new videos. Also, follow my Scratch, Instagram, and TikTok accounts, and make sure to join my Discord server in the link in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Friday. Have a nice day.